The new season of living alone in the wild begins. Winter is approaching in the Arctic Circle. The runners began to build warm shelters. Construction must be at full speed before winter really sets in. Race against time to succeed. On the morning of the fourth day, Klaus wakes up in the morning with a high heart rate, having diarrhea at the same time. When the paramedics came to check him out, decided to call the doctor and explain the situation. It scared Klaus out of his wits. He thought if he had diarrhea, he would drop out. That would be a big loss. Finally, the doctor gave him a reply. Could be a high heart rate from a hungry breakfast. Diarrhea is when you eat something bad. At least for now, nothing else. So there's no need to worry. At last, the quack advised him to eat more and keep warm and left. Soren went to check the nets early in the morning. He was very much looking forward to catching fish. When he pulled up the net, I saw a fish hanging from the net. He shouted excitedly, but this isn't a pike. He doesn't know what the hell this is. Does he? Screw it. 3728. Teach it how to be a human being. Anders is trying to get a storage shelf for the shelter. Usually can put water cup, cut a plank out of the wood. This wooden table mat costs $299 at the store, but it's not worth a damn here. He fixed the wood between the two trees. The tree fork can scrape things. A wooden mat on top becomes a dining table. People with ideas enjoy the world first. Bettina continues to perfect her shelter today. She fixed the shelter to a tree, then cut the top part off. This behavior is to cross the bridge and remove the board. The trees didn't expect this girl to be so hot. I was kind enough to make her a shelter pillar. I didn't think she'd turn around and think that falling trees were a danger to the shelter. That's why we need to cut the top part. Annie's fishing here. Suddenly, I saw a herd of reindeer coming to drink. This surprised her very much, but she didn't bring a bow and arrow. So all I can do is watch the fat run in front of me. Annie was drooling all over the floor. Sauron handles the fish on the shore. There's a lot of pearl-like stuff in the fish. He didn't know if it was roe or what. Soren fried the fish straight in the iron pan. He threw the meat straight into the fire. I thought he was stupid. Good thing it didn't last more than 3 seconds. After 4 days of starvation, I finally got fish. The fish is enough for him to eat. Only the cities of Meta and Yurik bring bows and arrows to hunt. Masters hunt differently. Yurik noticed some animal droppings on the ground. He guessed it was bird droppings. Yurik is a hunter. He practiced his bow and arrow at home. Hunted wild boar. Wild boars are very dangerous. When threatened, they attack humans. This wild boar is really in over his head. Yurik thinks there are big birds around. I hope I can hunt it. Meta is also waiting for his prey. She hoped to catch a fox. Both Meta and Ulrich brought binoculars. It's standard for hunters, handy for observing distant prey. Anders found a turpentine tree. He cut off a piece of wood to smell. It was the fattest wood he had ever seen. Pine trees bleed turpentine when injured. As a result, large amounts of turpentine can accumulate in nearby sawdust. Anders gave it a few random swipes with a poker. You can set the sawdust on fire. It's a great fire starter. Others fishing already eat the feast. Only Meta and Yurik hunt with bows and arrows, just waiting for the prey to show up. Time came to the 5th day. Klaus saw 2 ducks on the shore this morning. It's a nice setting. You can see all kinds of ghosts, right? Soren plans to remodel the shelter today. This temporary shelter is an uncomfortable place to live. He went to the shore to collect discarded wood, pile wood around the shelter. On the 4th day, he started building a permanent shelter, but it takes a lot of wood. Soren is a carpenter. He is very good at using wood. At least some tools can be repaired with wood. Expect him to build a beautiful wooden shelter. Matt gets up and brushes his teeth in the shelter. She never hunted for food. I always eat berry soup to satisfy my hunger. She picked up a branch nearby. Can be used to hang a kettle. The structure is just right. Bettina's got the shelter framed. Now all she has to do is hang up the tarp. You can move in. The shelter space is very large. If you want to survive the winter, the shelter still needs to be perfected. She filled the roof with branches and dig up some moss and put it on top of the wood. This will prevent the tip from poking through the tarp. Building the shelter was a big job. Anders got up and went to the shore to pull in his net. The net is half closed, but there were no fish in sight. He began to wonder if there were any fish in these waters. No fish. He doesn't know what to do next. Now he just wants to catch his fish somewhere else. When Annie got up, she also came to the shore to draw in her net. But her nets are deeper. I have to take off my pants every time. Fortunately, a pike was caught in the net. This made her excited to take off in place. The pike is very big, enough to feed her twice. And Meta can only drink water at a time. The 50-plus pairs of grandma contestants, probably confident in his hunting skills. Of course, her house is full of her hunting trophies. At home, the shelter she wanted to build looked like this. But here's the reality. Ideal is very full, reality very wanna cry. Bettina's been setting up a shelter for 5 days. She's the one who made the shelter her top priority. Make yourself look like you're high. Annie, on the other hand, is different. All she cared about was fishing. That's why we've had fish since the beginning. When you're working with fish, found a lot of small fish in the belly. This fish is bigger, and he wants to turn it into smoked fish. But you don't need a fish head to stew. Is that a waste? In a moment, Bettina had prepared a pot of fish. I'll fuck you. When did this high fished? The fishing was never shown. Can you believe me when I say you cheat? Yurik is eating dinner, too. A grilled fish and some mushrooms. Hey, don't you go hunting. When did you catch the fish? Do it one by one. You're making this very difficult for me. Time came to the 6th day. Yurik was singing early in the morning. Today is his daughter's birthday. It looks cute, but I hope you succeed in your hunt and win the championship. The weather is not very good today. The players don't want to get up when they wake up. Bettina joked about not sleeping well last night. There are too many spiders in the jungle, and he got into his sleeping bag. No wonder the muscles have been itchy all night. When Yurik got up, he began to cook breakfast. Fried fish is delicious. I started crying while I ate. Because it's his son's birthday. I really miss it. I'm speechless. These high people get fed up and miss their families. Bettina got up and started perfecting her shelter again. Today, she wants to build a bed for the shelter. Such a big piece of wood. Let's not make a bed. You can make a coffin. Anders is the one who's having the worst time. He is worried about catching fish now. The water at Anders' location is shallow, so he wants to put the net deep. A 16-meter tree was felled. Use tools to transform it. The rules have changed in the 8th season of the Danish version. All players are allowed to bring 3 items of their own. Anders brought a hand-operated drill. It's much easier to work with wood. Bringing their own tools allows them to be more creative in the field. Anders used a falcon structure to butt the wood. There is no need to use nails at all. I have to say Anders is a tool. Made it a lot easier for him to build. A piece of wood 10 meters long was fixed by him. He pulled the log to the shore, but it doesn't seem to be working very well. And Yurik's sighed. A tripod was set up on the shore, and there was a raft. Fuck, can these high people do tricks? At least let the building process go. It was 3 days ago. Yurik started building the raft. He used twigs to form a shape, then moved the shelves to the shore. When you put a tarp on it, it becomes a raft, and it can float successfully in the water. With this raft, I can put the net deeper. On the 5th day, he modified the raft again. The upgraded raft is quite sophisticated. Today, he tried to use a raft to drag his fishing net into the depths. The buoyancy of the raft is good. When he pulled the net, the tripod fell into the water. Looks like we need to fix the tripod. Bettina cut 2 large logs over here. She used wood as a bed frame, but wood is round. It turns very easily, but it's really the easiest way. Then spread some pine branches on the bed. Fur makes a comfortable bed. Bettina felt very comfortable lying on it. Light a fire, and you can do it. Anders tries to set the net on the shore. It's too bad it's too windy out here. Sticks are very unstable in water. It took a great deal of effort to put the net in place. Looks like it needs some work. And Yurik is as upset as a kite. He's gonna remodel this lame tripod. After floating the shelf, back out into the depths and set the net. While sorting out the fishing nets, accidentally ripped through the raft. Soon it began to sink. Good thing the water wasn't very deep. Yurik kept swearing. Well, that's just bad luck opening the fucking door and getting home. It was a disaster on Anders' side, too. He's been hungry for days. No fish. Can only scrape some bark to eat. He boiled the bark into a pot, and it takes 3 hours to cook. The cooked bark needs another night to dry. Klaus came to the shore to fish with a fishing rod. His water level is relatively deep, brought plenty of bait. My guess is Klaus is the winner. It's not a problem as long as you keep catching fish. Too bad the line stuck. It seems like none of the contestants are having a good day. If he didn't catch any fish, he could only boil water and drink it. There are some fish heads hanging from the tree. Why are these high people? I'd rather be hungry than eat a fish head. Klaus is a hunter. He missed hunting with his father very much. As he said this, he began to cry again. This high guy starts crying. And now she's crying like a pussy. The time came to the 7th day, and came to the shore early in the morning to take off her pants and feed the fish. Looking at the water in front of you is very calm. She shouted for the fish to come over for breakfast.
Alene!
It took me a long time to pull a pile of feed. If you don't eat it, it's wasted. The wilderness is unusually calm today. Anders got up and drank a glass of water. He's going to check the fishing net he laid down yesterday. The stick was in good condition from the shore. He felt that the tools he had made had served a good purpose. At this moment, Anders thinks it's safe this time. Only when he pulled up the net did he find out. The fishing net was wound round the stick. Fuck you on the street. It's been a long day trying to get some air. Anders was so mad he ripped the nets off. It took a day to build this thing. No gain at all. And he ruined his fishing nets. Anders was plunged into a life of doubt. He apologized for the harsh language he had just used. Swearing is just an expression of emotion. It has nothing to do with personal qualities. How will he survive here without nets? Fish is the main source of food for the contestants. The area has pike, trout, river trout, and bass. There are many kinds, but winter is coming. Soon fishing will become more difficult. Early fishing has advantages, but it's definitely the nets that have the advantage. When Sauron woke up in the morning, he decided to make some soap. Mix charcoal ash with water to get some lye. It's even better if you add grease. He went out into the field to collect some blades of grass. The smell of these blades of grass repels mosquitoes. He uses wood to grind the blades of grass. Add to iron pan and mix. Then pour the soap into the cup. He took the soap ORS he had made to the shore. Soren's been here a long time. First shower today. He smeared soap on his body, then wash it constantly in water. After showering, return to the shelter to dry. This high guy's gonna have a good time. Bettina dug up an earthworm. She came to the shore to fish. I've been fishing with fake bait all my life. Try earthworms today. Soon a bass took the bait. Bettina caught a big bass. She was very excited. Soon the show's boat showed up here. They came to the player's position. What is this supposed to do? It's only day 7. Are we gonna have to get all of them checked out? The crew came to check on the status of the contestants and remind them that winter is coming. He checked and left. Just a few minutes of physical examination. The players look like they've been hit again. People started perfecting the shelter, or catch fish and store food. Anders here boiled the bark for hours yesterday. The bark is roasted again today. Everyone else is eating fish. Just this high guy congratulating bark. It tastes a little bit like tree strips. Chewing bark is like chewing beef jerky. Klaus just set up the net. My shoes and clothes are wet. He's standing over a fire roasting sausages. This high guy is laughing my ass off. Yurek's playing around here. Go back and beat your dad if you're sick. Don't get crazy in here. I'm the wild man commentator, not a psychiatrist. Okay? Bettina has moved into a new shelter. The fire was burning at the door. The smoke blew into the shelter. Bettina was overcome with tears. She's got legs. It's really gonna kill her. The time came to the 8th day. The weather is getting colder. Anders is planning to remodel his shelter today. Make the shelter shorter and warmer. Then cover the roof with moss. This increases the warmth of the shelter. He's got legs. Did this high guy build a grave? It looks pretty harmonious from the front. Sauron cooked some bark and ate it in the shelter. It tastes like a snack. It's only been a week. The contestants began to eat the bark. What about the back end? Sauron whittled wood nails from branches. It's for permanent use in the shelter. Soren also brought a wooden drill. He drilled holes into the shelter wood with a drill tool, then knocked the wood down to secure it. This season's players are average hunters, but the shelter built must be better. He collected more moss. Spread moss on the roof. Did he want to use moss to keep out the rain? No tarps at all are a bad idea. Sauron's shelter uses a lot of wood. Let's hope he builds the cabin of his heart. Klaus is cleaning up the shelter, too. He's going to build a bed in it. Use twigs to frame the bed. It looks a lot more elaborate than Bettina's. He spread the stick on the wood. This little bed looks comfortable, but the effect is a peaceful sleep. A new shelter has been set up on Annie's side. Cover the trapezoidal frame with a tarp. It looks simple. It wasn't hard at all. Inside soon finished building a second shelter. She also moved from the cottage to the big house today. There's a lot of room in the shelter, and there are still 2 small saplings. These high people have weird ideas. Bettina's here remodeling her fireplace. Almost died in the same spot last night, but after the makeover, the same is smoked crying. Every now and then you lift up the tarp to breathe. For a moment she didn't know what to do. Anders with the shelter ready to go fishing. Now he's pinning his hopes on fishing. But after hours and nothing, is today another day of no harvest. Klaus came to the shore to pull in his net. When he pulled up the net, I saw a fish hanging from it. 2 fish were harvested today. Anders just sat in the shelter starving. Klaus ate it at the shelter. This is really a drought. Flood. A flood. Why are people so different from each other? The time came to the 9th day. The weather is very fine today, but the temperature has also dropped a lot. All the players woke up feeling cold. Bettina wore long johns too. Time is running out for the players to perfect the shelter. Anders was drinking water. I noticed that last night's quilt had begun to freeze. That means the temperature has dropped a lot. Soren's a fucking genius. Building a shelter accidentally created a public toilet. There's something wrong with the high guy aesthetic. He got a lot of moss and spread it on the roof. The moss house was built in no time. Anders got a giant candle. Is this burning incense at the grave? It turned out to be a miniature stove. It's handy for boiling water. Anders' skills may not be in hunting, but the result is still pretty. He loves the environment here. Get up every day, and then work. Sleep on a full stomach. The way here is simple. Hey, don't think about it. Please go catch a fish and eat it. Bettina's warming up in the shelter. It's really cold today. You can tell by the way she's breathing. It's probably only a few degrees right now. The players are starting to get into it, starting to get used to it. But there are also players who can't find their way around here. The next thing you know, the showboat is here again. It turns out Anders is dropping out. This surprised me very much. He just finished the shelter today. Why do you just give up? Although he didn't have much luck fishing, but there's still a hook here. Not so quick to drop out. Anders did have bad luck. The shelter has failed thousands of times since it started. Plus there's been no fish. Maybe he's really hungry. Drinking water all the time isn't the answer. Only the second episode. The contestants made it through 8 days. There are 6 players left in the field. They still have a lot of enthusiasm. Bettina went fishing on the shore after Emo. Sauron still builds his own little toilet. Yurik saw the wild duck with a bow and arrow in pursuit of his prey. Well, we'll see what surprises the contestants will bring in the next episode. Look forward to an update in the next video.